Hello and welcome to this tutorial. It's for learning lighting, which I know can be very tricky for some people, especially beginner artists. I know this is something I recently learned how to do, and it's kind of just like changed how I light things, like completely and totally. I kind of just figured it out on my own, but I figured I might as well show you guys how to do it. Every artist needs this. So I'm using Krita, and I don't think I'll be using anything that's specific to this version of it, so you can just use any version or whatever version of Krita you're using, or whatever program you're using. I know that I'll be using grouping and clipping layers, so if you're on something like Autodesk, then you might want to lock your transparency, because I know that'll make it easier to do what I'm doing. But other than that, let's get on to it. I'll show you guys how to do this. So what I have over here are my layers, and as you can see, there's a lot of them. I have a bunch of groups and stuff for this particular drawing of our boy Ovarian. But what I'm going to do is hide all of these background layers for right now, so that I can just go ahead and select all these groups. That's the wrong layer. So that I can go ahead and select all of these groups. So I'm going to select all my layers that I want in this to be lighted. If you want it to be lit in the same layer as this, so I want all of Varian to be able to be lit if I so desire. So I'm going to select all of the layers that are Varian. And then I'm going to just quick group them for Krita, but if you have a different program, it might be something else. I totally screwed this up. When you're clicking your layers, make sure you select only the visible layers, because otherwise you'll select them all and that'll make things complicated for you. Haha. So anyway, after you do that, you're going to quick group them. Only the layers you want, of course, like I was saying earlier, but I got distracted. Haha. See, and now only this part, if I do this, he disappears. And only what I want to be colored will be colored, and I can bring back all of my previous layers that I wanted. So I have my background and I have Varian, but now I can open this group right here that I have and have all my things. And if I add a layer on top of this and I invert it, which is this little cross here for Krita, but this will make it so that I can only color on Varian. So see, if I grab this pen right here, I can't color outside of him. So that's for like Autodesk, and I know maybe a couple of other sites. That's what locking your transparency will do. I know it's a little bit different, but locking your transparency should do that for whatever you've already drawn. And if you can group it, then I'm pretty sure that'll just do it for that group. But, so after you do that, for this layer, I'm going to make it a multiply layer because I want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm gonna pick a darker color. So I'm gonna pick this blue right here, and I'm just gonna cover the entire thing. And as you can see, you can still see him because of the multiply layer, but that's a little too saturated for me, so I'm just gonna turn it down to 50, and that's perfect for where I want it. If you have a dark enough color scheme, if you've purposefully used a darker color scheme for this, then you don't necessarily need the multiply layer, but since he's kind of light, and I really want the light to stand out, I'm gonna want to, turn this up so that we can see him. So after you do that, after you have your layer, and inverting it, if I showed you when I turn that off, you can see it again, but by turning it back on, you can only see it on Varian. So after that, you're gonna add another layer, and you're going to make that an overlay layer. And you're also going to invert this. That won't affect the multiply layer at all. So after that, you're going to pick your color. I think I'm going to use a lighter purple for this. And if you really want it to be saturated, if you want it to be like a bright, vibrant glow, because that'll make it like a very like illuminated sort of picture. Can't speak. But if for a darker color, it'll kind of just be more, you know, just dull light. You usually want it to be brighter though, because if it's like darker, then the overlay layer won't really work because it's not like light. It'll be like a shadow. So that's something to keep in mind. And I'm going to use an airbrush for this, but you can use any soft brush that you want to use. So to get a different effect. I know some people like using watercolor brushes, all that sort of fun stuff. But for this, I'm just going to use an airbrush. You can set it to whatever size you want. And basically all you're going to do is just wherever you want the light to be, go over very strongly with your brush. And as you can see, it already starts to kind of look lit. I'm not going to try too hard on this, but you can see how we've already got some good rim lighting here, thanks to our little technique. And you can just put the light wherever you want it to, and this will be your lighting. And you can add a light source, but since this is just lighting an actual character, and it kind of already looks like there is a light source coming from over there somewhere, just by using this, but there isn't. I haven't put anything. There's just this. And if you want it to be like a larger, softer light, you can make your brush larger, just sort of do this. You can even using this, you can even like use these colors and make it a gradient, because using the overlay layer, it'll still look like this. The stronger the color is, the brighter it'll look. But if you want a nice little fade, sort of, make it look like it's sort of shining more on different places, you can do that. That's possible. You could highlight the pupils, make it look like they're glowing. You can basically do whatever with this, whatever kind of lighting you need to do, what you want to do. You can play around with it. You could invert the lighting. You could see what different brushes look like, see what adding different kinds of layers do. But for the simplest, if you're just trying to do like a quick doodle, or if you're lighting a picture that you want to take, this is pretty much the easiest way I think there is to do it. And that's all there is to it. That's all it is. You just pick a color and then color over top of it. So I hope this was helpful, a helpful little tutorial on how to light things very easily. And stay and subscribe for more little stuff like this. I've been working on a couple of animations lately, so those should be out soon. And I hope this was helpful to any artists who are struggling with lighting, because I know I was until I figured this out. Okay, bye!